as I said, the recordings will be available. So Kevin, if you could just start the recording, that would be great. And so this week we're very excited to have an expert presentation, all talking to us about setting the right price, so making sure that you're giving value to your expertise, and as well some of the top things you need to know in terms of finance for small business. So just want to start with a quick recap or review. Last week we talked about what makes a good side hustle. We talked about how to make sure that you're making time for it. We talked about how you can actually make your side hustle into a project. So just wanted to give an opportunity to see if there are any questions from last week at all. And you can throw them in the chat. We can go through that. Not seeing anything there. Okay, so then I'm going to turn it over to Francis, who's going to talk to us about, as I said, small business finances and setting your price. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and allow Francis to introduce herself. So thanks so much, and take it away, Francis.
Hi, so my name is Francis. I'm a bookkeeper. I've been a bookkeeper for about 10 years, and I'm going to, like Tracy said, talk about pricing. Oh, 1 second, sorry. I think I gotta do it this way. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this session, it's all going to be about money, confidence, and like Tracy said, respecting the value you bring as a business owner or a soon-to-be business owner. So whether you're just getting started, this is going to help you price with confidence, understand your numbers, and build a financially sustainable business. So quick reminder, a side hustle isn't small. It's often the seed of your future full-time business, your independence, or a safety net. So if you have a side hustle and you want to put your name and what it is in the chat. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover today. We'll cover why pricing matters, your mindset and positioning, understanding what your real costs are, simple pricing strategies that work, basics of cash flow and taxes, and how to confidently stand by your price. If you have any questions, put it in the chat and we can take it in between or again at the end. So we'll start with foundation. Pricing isn't just math, it's also messaging. So your price tells a story. It reflects your value, it signals your confidence and your expertise. It really determines whether your business can grow. And yes, it influences how seriously customers treat you. Pricing too low means burnout. You have to work more to make more money. Pricing too high means you might get lower sales. So you really want to find the right price that gets energy and growth. So when you price fairly, you're not just making money, you're respecting your time and your talent. So think back, what's one time that you maybe underpriced your work or you paid someone that you thought was underpriced? For myself, when I started my business, I started my pricing with an hourly rate I thought was fair compared to what I was getting paid as an employee. In retrospect, it was too low to cover reasonable business costs and needed to be changed within the first year. So remember, your price tells a story. Make sure it's one that builds your business and not one that burns you out. Your pricing also shapes perception. Your customers are thinking, can I trust them? Are they good at what they do? Is this worth it? If you saw someone charging $5 for a logo versus 500, you'd assume something about quality. I actually had a conversation with something about this today, is they had a prospective supplier they were working with, and they were questioning whether to work with them because their price was too low in a situation like this. When you underprice, customers often assume your service is lower quality. When you charge appropriately, you communicate confidence and professionalism. Your price decides if it's viewed as a hobby or a professional business. If you doubled your price tomorrow, what do you think your clients would assume? This doesn't mean start charging luxury rates tomorrow. It means being intentional about who you are and where you're going. So let's talk about real costs. So most business owners make the same mistake. They price based only on what feels reasonable instead of actual cost. So some examples of actual costs are materials, tools, travel, supplies, and these are known as direct costs and easy to remember. But there are a lot of indirect costs, they sometimes get called hidden costs, that take more work to keep track of. Administrative time or bookkeeping, the marketing effort you might be doing yourself, software and applications, online subscriptions, packaging, insurance, transaction fees, loan payments, interest, and taxes. If it takes time or it takes money, it's a real cost. So you can add 20 to 30% margin to both of these costs to find your minimum price. What's one hidden cost that you've realized in your business? So a quick exercise you can do is write down one of your offerings or packages and list all of your costs and time, both direct and indirect. Are you charging for all of it? So like I said, there's lots of hidden costs. I'm sure there's more than I said, but to really find them all, you really have to think about it and write out, what am I doing? And if someone else was doing it, would that be a cost to me? So when you start to calculate your prices, there's 3 different pricing models used. There's cost and margin, there's perceived value, and there's market comparison. So cost and margin, which is usually for makers or someone who's making a product. We just went through that. This is commonly used for anyone selling a physical product. So for this method, you take your cost, you add a markup percentage, and the total is your sales price. Consultants are usually peer perceived value. So this is based where you charge based on what the other person perceives your value as. So you usually see this in high-level business consultants. A more recent example I can think of is the World Series Blue Jays tickets. That wasn't really based on a certain cost. It was based on what people perceive the value of those tickets being. And lastly, you'll see market comparison or for service providers. So you see this a lot with accountants, lawyers, dental offices, cleaning services, where no matter who you go to, they really all charge around the same price. Which pricing model are you currently using, and should you make a change? I'm going to stop there if there are any questions. So we did get one response that, yeah, when you start a business, it's really easy to underprice your work, and no one's really going to tell you that you're underpriced, because you're saving them money. So it's unfortunate, but it's something you as a business owner have to push forward on. So the other thing to think about with price is it's not just about covering costs, it's also about your profit and your goals. So start with writing what your profit goals are. Is it, I want to make $1,000 more a year? Or is it, I want to make $1,000 more a month? And then you can take that profit number and divide that by how many sales you need to get to achieve that profit based on your current offerings and how long it would take you to reach that goal. Pricing affects your time, energy, and happiness. having the wrong pricing means more work, which can be unsustainable in the long term and lead to burnout. Another quick number check that you can do is if you have a regular paycheck or a previous regular paycheck, you can take that and times that by 2 and divide that by your average cost per item. That would give you a rough number of how many items you would need to sell each month. And this is why it's so important to know your numbers, because when things get busy, it's hard to know if you're actually working towards your goals or just spinning out and just on a hamster wheel where you're working, but you're not progressing. Knowing your numbers, especially right now, is also important because your direct costs can go up or down, and if you're not constantly on top of it, it can really blindside you. With that, we're going to talk about cash flow. So cash flow is money in and money out. Profitable businesses can fail from poor cash flow management. Bankruptcies don't start with bad businesses, they start with bad cash flow. That's why tracking your money matters. So some simple rules for setting yourself up in business is to track your income and expenses monthly. Especially now with technology, there's so many ways to do it. You can use a spreadsheet, you can write it down, old ledger style. You can take photos of receipts with your phone. You can set up a folder or a label in like your email or Google Drive, or there are even receipt applications now where you can take a photo or send the email directly into the receipt app. There's obviously spreadsheets or bookkeeping applications. Another really, really good tip is to keep a separate business bank account. There are banks that offer low-fee digital accounts that you can later upgrade to a more expensive full-service account. It makes tracking so much easier and helps your business feel real. Keeping your finances clean and separate from your personal stuff is one of the smartest moves you can make, and your accountants and bookkeepers will very much thank you, and they'll be able to help you more rather than trying to sort out all the business and personal. So how can you stay cash positive? Spend less than when you earn. So when money comes in for your business, set a little aside for taxes, reinvest a bit into tools and marketing, and then pay yourself. Paying yourself is really important in the early stages because as you go on, it just gets harder and harder. Also, with staying cash positive, you want to reinvest your small profits. And I say also track your profits because it's as you get going, like running a business can be 24/7. So I like to record those milestones. And then also plan for slow seasons. Most businesses have seasonality to them. So once you know your seasonality, you want to plan for that going forward. Your goal isn't to have perfect cash flow, it's to stay positive, steady, and confident. Okay, I'm going to pause there. For putting some aside for taxes, a percentage, yes, we are going to talk about that right now. So taxes don't have to be scary. I know they are for a lot of people, but taxes become scary when finances get avoided and penalties and interest start getting applied. So some best practices here are to register your business when consistent. I would say more than one sale a month for 6 months, then you're getting more consistent. Once you've made $30,000 of sales in the past 4 quarters, so the past 12 months, and like each calendar quarter, you need to register for GST, HST. If you're in Quebec, that's QST as well. Accountants or bookkeepers can help you register, as you need, once you reach that 30,000 threshold, you need to start charging right away. You can also do this on the CRA My Business account login. As a small business, your taxes are due at the end of the year. They aren't deducted like they are a paycheck. So to help build your cash flow, set aside 20 to 25% for taxes of every dollar coming in to a separate tax savings account. If you're HST registered, I would up this to 40%. And always consult a qualified accountant or bookkeeper. So once you start running your business, you'll be asked to clarify why your pricing is what it is. So don't defend your price, just explain the value of your price. So stay confident, know your costs, build value into your offer, share social proof. So if you have a Google My Business listing or Facebook reviews, share those with potential customers, those testimonials, so they can see the value you provided others. And review prices regularly. Right. You can start with 6 to 12 months, and if you find costs are always changing, do it sooner. Do it every 3 months. You can also offer clear packages like a monthly rate or a project fee so people know what they're getting. With bookkeeping, it's very common to have a monthly package rate. So think about something like that. And if someone says you're too expensive, it doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means they're not your customer. So to recap, know your costs, know what you're paying and your direct and indirect costs. Add margin. What's the margin for your industry? What about in the current market? Track your money and save for taxes. Do your bookkeeping weekly or daily. And stand by your value. Don't justify, just explain. Pricing right is self-respect in business form. You don't need to be perfect to be profitable, just intentional and confident. Start fair, grow strong, and treat your business like it deserves to thrive. When you respect your work and your time, others will too. And that's what turns a small project into something that truly lasts. And the final takeaway, what's one action you'll take this week to review your pricing? And are there any other questions? And then just a little bit about me. So my name's Frances. My business is Frances Financial Solutions. So we're your official bookkeeping partner. So we offer bookkeeping and payroll services, and we really like to partner with our businesses. So I always encourage my clients to email, call me. You can text me on that number below. But I really want to build a relationship and help everyone I can. I offer a free discovery call, even if you're not ready to hire a bookkeeper just yet, just a free call to explore where you're at, what your options are, how we can help, maybe not now, but down the line. Any other questions about me or about the presentation?
I think that's all the questions, Frances. Thanks so much. We appreciate your time. And if there are any other questions, you can we can certainly get them answered for you if you do think of anything following this. And again, we will have the presentation provided to you as well as the recording once that becomes available. So you can come back to review that again. So That concludes our session for tonight with a smaller group. Things run quickly with fewer questions. Oh, I see we might have another question. Oh, there, just thank you. So thanks so much, Shannon. So that will conclude our session for tonight. Next week, we will be looking at joining again, same time, same place, not the same link that's been sent to you as well. And we will have another expert presentation on working smarter with AI. So looking forward to seeing you next week. And thank you again, Francis. We really appreciate your time and your expertise. Much appreciated. Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.